and today I'm going to share with you about an infectious disease called cholera. So, what is cholera? Cholera is such an infectious disease caused by a causative agent, which is Bacterium Vibrio cholerae. This bacteria has two main strains, which are strain 01 and strain 0139. For the strain 01, it is also known as a classical strain and has a type named Altor. From 1817 to 1923, there were 6 pandemics of cholera in total. After this, many countries around the world have been much recovered. However, after about 40 years since 1923, the 7th pandemic have been rising again and become outbreak in 1961 in Indonesia. The pandemic was then spread out to India, then Italy, South America, and Peru. The reason for this outbreak was belonged to the discharge of the ship's sewage into the sea without going through any of the sewage treatment. Nowadays, the Vibrio cholerae 01 can be found in Bangladesh. So for the second strain, which is known as a new strain 0139, it is suggested that it's more virulent as well as more deadly strain. This strain was firstly found in Chennai in 1992 and was also responsible for the 8th pandemic across India and Bangladesh. Okay, now let's compare these two strains. For the Altor, it had to take 2 years to replace the classical strain 01. But for the 0139, it only required less than 2 months to replace the Altor. Okay, now let's move on to its features. For the mode of transmission, there are 2 ways that a normal people can be infected. The first one is about the quality of the food and water. If they eat uncooked food or contaminated water or both, they are very likely to absorb Vibrio cholerae into their bodies. The second way is through the other symptomless carriers of cholera. The bacteria isn't transmitted through the air but through their cooking and eating utensils. If the infected people handle cooking utensils or food without washing their hands, the normal ones would get very high probability to catch the disease. This disease can incubate inside the human bodies up to 5 days before causing the real cholera. Every year, there are roughly from 3 to 5 million people who get infected, and there are about 100,000 deaths recorded annually. This disease is mainly concentrated in low and middle income countries in Asia, Africa, Latin America, as the medical sciences and sewage treatment in these regions are bad. Now, let's find out how cholera actually affects us. As I said a few minutes ago, the normal people can catch a disease by eating uncooked food as well as dirty water. Since the Vibrio cholerae can get inside the bodies through mouth, then they move to the small intestine as the final target. Since they get there, they are going to secrete a toxin called choleragen. The choleragen will disrupt the functions of epithelium lining of intestine, which leads to a loss of salt and water from blood, causing the people to get suffered from severe diarrhea. If those people lose too many fluids and cannot be treated in 24 hours, they will die for sure. Fortunately, there are lots of advancement in medical sciences nowadays so that cholera is finally treated completely by using oral rehydration therapy. The patient have to drink the oral rehydration solution daily until they are cured. This solution will help the patient's bodies to maintain the osmotic balance of the blood and tissue fluid. Now, why don't we protect ourselves before it becomes too late? There are several ways to protect us from getting cholera. First, for the biological factor, we now can go to the health centers for the request of getting cholera vaccination, and Vaxchora is a mainly recommended vaccine. Secondly, we can protect us from getting this disease by washing our hands before handling something such as food or cooking utensils. Remember to get well hand hygiene. Finally, the government should spend on improvement of drainage system as well as the sewage treatment in order to provide the clean water for all the people around the country. Okay, that's all what I want to present to you guys today. Thank you for listening. Bye.